And I don't know where my Allen keys are. I had them all yesterday. They're around here. They're close by. Here they are. Let's see what size it is. Is it this size? No. Is it this size? Yes. Let's do this exhaust system real quick. It's pretty fast, no wires, no plus, nothing to do. To make sure the gasket lines up with the hole. I like to start the inner one first. That's the harder one. Again, I start with the harder side first. And you have to go by feel. You have to feel it first. You cannot go wrenching on it until you feel it thread in by hand. Once you get a couple threads in it, you know you're in. Then you can use the wrench. So you're going to feel it by hand first. Tilt this up. Do what you got to do. Get the weight off the thread. There you go. It's in. Again, I'm starting with the inside, the harder one first. Make it touch the manifold. Make it touch. Do this side. Make it touch. Close that gap if you see one. Make it touch. You'll feel it snugging out. Now you can crank on it a little bit. Not too hard though. Just enough. Because the head is still one of the Chinese pot metal or aluminum. So just give it enough. Like that. Now you got to check and see if your pedal goes by there. You understand? Let me see here. Always check and see if your pedal clearance fits past the muffler. Yes, it does. So we're good to go because sometimes you have to heat the muffler, the pipe up, to bring it on over underneath there. But this one has plenty of clearance, no visible problems. So, come back, start. Let's get you back in view after I move this around. Yeah, I think we'll do the gas tank next. Get that out the way. It's very straightforward. In fact, let's do this. Let's get you to watch this part of it. Bag of bolts. And you're saying, hey, that's the rear brake kit. Yes, it is. Well, I didn't need it on the last one because it was already in there. So this is something I could save for later. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Put it right back in this bag as soon as I empty the bag. Some of the nuts are stuck in the hole here. There we go. That aside. Take everything out of this bag. Basically, I like to use a magnetic tray. Here's your gas tank mounts. Go right here. Spark plug will be in this bag. Your oil, gas filter will be in here. Your shut-off cockpit with a second filter will be in there. And just unload all the nuts and bolts right in here. Because they'll magnetize to each other. There's your fuel line. And now I put these back in here. This back in here. So I'm going to reuse these somewhere down the line. Some customer may come for me to fix his bike, and I have a whole brand new set of bolts, nuts, washers, everything needed. They're easy to tell because they're longest bolts in here, with still having that 8mm. Comes with a tool, which, you know, it's got a, that's advanced mechanic tool set. Advanced mechanics. So what I like to do, I just run the 2 clamps on right now. Okay, so just set them there. And I find all the lock washers and the bolts for this small. They're going to be smaller than these 8mm threads. Now we're going down to 6mm thread. Should be 4 nuts, 4 lock washers, 4 flat washers for this. So you got to look in here carefully for them. They're in here. They don't make a mistake with that. 9 times out of 10. I mean, I've had hardly ever have some missing. They sure enough, they must have individual quality control for people doing this at each stage of this builds. And while you're looking for the nuts, sometimes the flat washer, the lock washer shows up, and you grab it. Don't leave it there. Grab it. Take it out of there, because they all look the same, believe me. So you really look at it. Also, there's the cable, clutch cable lockdown nut, threading piece with the screw. If you find that, which you can find it at the end either way, but I like to put them together now. Throw them right back in this magnetic case. So I don't have to spend time looking for that. If I find it right now, I'll use it right now. I'll thread them in. So far we have 3 lock washers, 1 flat washer of that size. It's really a pain in the ass this because you can't really tell that's wrong. Another one, that's 3 and 3. There it is. I just had it. There's 4 lock washers. I need 1 more flat washer. Where's Waldo? That's how this is. Where is Waldo? Here it is. Right there. Just for references, I throw them in there. Yep. Perfect fit. And I just get 2 screws started right at near the top. I mean 2 nuts. Take the rest of them with me because I'm going to show you why. I'll set this up on this side now. Oh, hold on. It's better off we do this right now while it's upside down instead of on the bike. What's nice about this company, they also give you an Allen key with almost every kit. I'll have to get their name and put them up so you guys will know what the name of the place is. It gives you these particular kits. here nut will be a 3/4 or 19mm. Just tighten it, holding this straight out to the side, because if you don't hold it, see what it's doing? It's turning it. So I hold it with repair pliers, vice grips, whatever. Just need to hold it. It's not very, you don't have to do it so tightly. You need to get this out of your way, get it out of your way. Like so. Let's put it this way. No, this ain't working. I can't hold it that well. Let's just hold it there. Very light. You don't want to hurt nothing. This has a rubber mark on the side of it. That doesn't have to be super tight because there's rubber stopping it from leaking. Let's see here. Yes. Alright, let's grab the rest of the nuts, bolts, and washers here. Let's get your back one for the base build. Right there. And I have to get out of your way when I do this. Alright, well, what I like to do is take this one down and this side out. Sometimes these are so tightly toleranced that it won't work with you. Now, what you do is you put this down this way. See how they went in like that? And just in here, you don't have to do all that work. You put one here, you put one here. On this one, the bolt is not exactly welded straight. So you're gonna have to let's do the front. So we can stay balanced. Let's do the front one on. So I can use all my force to push the bolt, not start over. Jesus. Coming off. Why is it keep coming off? Up. And there it is. Both of them came out. Why is that? Those of you who don't work with these guns often, don't do it with this. What's happening? My dog. He's Chewy. He came in, he inspected it, now he's leaving. Nice. Alright. So, back to the build. Looks like the battery's going low. My light is blinking. So I may have to finish it later. That's okay. If I have to finish it later, I will. Because this one's turning out to be a good. The first one that I actually I'm talking and building at the same time. It's turning out to be a good one. Oh, clutch gears was on the other side. I'll just leave it hanging there. I'm not worrying about it. Not doing anything with it. Maybe I could just stick it right in the hole over here. Through the clutch gear hole. Oh, you need the heat shield. Might as well put that in first. It's the fatter spring. There's two springs. A narrow spring and a fat spring. The fat spring does nothing. It's a heat shield. Stops it from heating up the cable while you're riding around. So you push that in. Actually, it's a lock it in there. The heat shield. And that's that. Where the second cable is, I must have dropped it. The second spring shield. So, carburetor comes with a gigantic spring inside of here. It is tensionally has a tension on it, but not tension where it's going to hurt you, but you need to make sure it doesn't go flying, because this is one of a kind. There's no second one in there, so you want to make sure you have that. You tilt this upside down, making sure there's no holes on the ground where you can find everything. And this is where this little bowl comes out of, right through here. See that? Along with this very important E-clip that you put in there, in the bowl, that bowl, and then you put the spring on top of that E-clip. We will explain why later. Now you take this curved piece and you face it along under here, along this line, along the curve. So what I do, I just measure it like this, because the two screws that are mounting it is they're a little tight. And it is also a 9/16 or 14 millimeter. I'm going to face it that way, tighten this screw up, this nut up, towards the top of that plastic. But don't crank on it. All you want to do is snug fit it. It's plastic. If you crank on it, you're going to pull it right out of the threads. Now you got this piece moving all the time. You can still use it, but it doesn't idle right. You can't get adjustment right. It unscrewed it up, is what I'm saying. It will not. That'll go fast. That'll go through real quick. I remove my bit so I know where it's at. And now we will proceed with putting on the throttle and kill switch at the same time, because it will be set in for good. On top of here, sorry, the fat end goes all around this white end, the fat part of this throttle. Now you look for the hole, it just dropped right in for me. Take the two screws and start it. Just get them started. You don't want to do it too much. There we go. Gotta line up. There we go. That's one. That's two. That's it. Plastic, remember? And there we are. Now the reason why, well, let's give you a look at this part of it here. You see, so you can reach it very easily. Throttle. Sorry, wasn't in view. And you can reach it very easily when you're riding. Kill the motor. Okay, battery is still blinking. Means it's still recording. We probably have enough time to show you how to put in the carburetor. The reason why I took the carburetor apart. I'll show you that. Now what I like to do is run this cable around this side. Or you can do it on this side, doesn't matter. And you run it through where you put the tank mounts at. See that? Comes out of there, automatically holds it for you, and you can just come in through here and put the cable. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to be putting the carburetor together. I want you to see how this is done. So the cable gives you enough slack now. You know, I mean, I can sit out here and do it and let you watch me. So here's what you do. You stick the cap. This is the whole cap piece that threads in there, and it stops right here at this piece. So it's not going to be easy at all. Stops right there. See that? That's pulled on into the throttle right here. You gotta put the spring in here first. Next. And that's another part ain't easy. Because once you put the spring in here, you got to take this C-clip. Let me let go of the spring so I can show you. You got to take the C-clip and the cup and put it down in there, and it's got to line up with the cable. The cable runs up through here. Okay? Now that I got that, I push this down, and what I do, stick this in there, voila. Okay? Yeah, a little C-clip, the spring is on top of the C-clip, and it's in this lockdown screw nut. So it makes that work like this. See that? Actually, it won't bend that way because it'll be inside the carburetor, which keeps it going up and down straight. And there's no oil necessary because when you're feeding this gas through here, it oils it for you. So now, second part of this slotted hole where the cable went through is down here in the carburetor. There's a little pin sticking out. It's on the same side as the gas line, so you need to line them up so that it starts to go down in the kit, and then you got to line the needle up down in the hole. It goes down through the bolt. Once you do that, it'll fall all the way down. Now you got tension for the spring, and you squeeze it together and tighten that cap up. As you can see, the bolt is all the way up because the spring is pushing it up towards the cap. And if you turn the throttle, it opens the bolt. I don't know if you can see it. So, push this back in. Bring the carburetor up around this way. Now, we put this in here all the way to the back of that exhaust. Intake manifold, not exhaust. It's sometimes a Phillips screwdriver, and sometimes it's an 8mm thread, socket head. So you gotta loosen it up so we can get it to go all the way back. It's very important you push it all the way back because it seals it in there nice and tight. There's no air leaks, because we all know vacuum leaks. Now we check the throttle. That feels good. Perfect. It's coming back on its own. That's perfect. So, which is the electrical wiring. And I bring it down through here in the center. So it's the lowest part of this bike. The zip tie gets zip tied to each side of these bars. I'll just hold it in there for you. It may not be pretty, but it works. And it holds it there. You just give it to the beginning of the zip tie. Now don't tighten it real tight yet. Okay, I put it on backwards. Put it in there. I had it flipped too much where it wasn't actually going into the zip. Let's listen for it. Right there. I get another one for the other side. And I take it. I'm coming down this way. Well, somehow the zip tie flipped it on me again. Got to turn it around. You can literally use the zip part. Let's see if we can do it like this. Come on, get around there. and that will stay. And the wires coming down through there, and also the spark plug will fit. Loop will fit right in there. Nice and pretty. Because I need to turn the wheel for this way. Grab another zip. Now we zip these two guys together. Down here. We gotta tighten these up. Make sure it's on this side, see? The wires on this side away from the muffler. These wires will also come on this side. The engine side comes across the engine. Sometimes you can squeeze it right over the screws there, and that'll hold it firmly in place. And you can come up this way. See that? Now, I'm going to give it another zip. I'll use another zip tie right down there. I'll put all these together now. These 6 set of wires. You got blue goes to blue. You got the green, which cannot be moved anymore than that. Goes here. Take your electrical covering, rubber covering for the electrical. Try to cover it. Not always easy to do. It'll cover it from the rain. Black goes to black. Also here, black goes to black. And take your water covering and sometimes it wants to give you a hard time. You can see the little turns, both ways, no problem. Let's turn this around and get you back in focus so you can watch me do the clutch cable. I'm going. Let's see. I'm not positive if it's there or not. So, what I'm doing is, what happens is, now you take the skinny spring and you put it where the cable is to help with this spring action, even though it has its own spring action inside the clutch area. But you're using it here, it helps pull the handle itself back. And you use your little barrel that I remember I said do the screw now so you don't forget it, and you slide that in here, cable through it. If it doesn't want to go through, loosen the screw up some more so the cable falls through. So now, there we go, goes all the way through. Pull the cable, make sure it's in the slot or the hanger. Make sure the handle is all the way out. What I can do is I pinch the cable at the right side. I stretch the cable and the lever in. And I pull it down. Hold it there. Now this this barrel will want to spin on you, so you're going to have to be gentle as you turn it until it just it starts biting the cable. And there you go. Alright. Okay. Now we're going to check it. That's why I left the spark plug loose. There's a gear right here. It goes to the chain. It's aligned with this gear and this gear. You pull the clutch in, lock it out, lock the clutch out. Could be this way, could be that way. See, most people will probably do that. Now we'll check and see if this gear will spin. Relatively easy. Grab one of the teeth, and it is. It's spinning nice and easy. Now we can take this, tighten that up. Close my eyes now. Take your screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, and tighten it up. Not too tight, just tighten it up. There you go. See that? Now you try spinning the cable again, because now we made a compression seal. Let's see if this will turn. If it doesn't want to turn, you got to tighten this clutch up. You got to push the clutch in or something. Find the gear first. There it is turning. Alright, beautiful. It's still turning. So that means this is good. We're going to plug this in. Look at your spark plug hole down here. You can see when it's got little lines on there. So there's a little cap on this spark plug. It screws off. Take it off. And put your spark plug on, because what it does, those little lines clip into the threads. You'll hear it. It sounds like a zip tie. Okay, well, it didn't sound like it this time, sorry. But that's what it would sound like. Sometimes it sounds like a zip tie, and it's just the end of the spark plug. That's all it is. Alright, next thing is the last thing is the chain. Break the chain down, measure the chain in, break it down, and put the adjustment on it. Chain adjuster. So, it's very hard for me to get it to move that gear. This gear will not move freely yet because it's got to break in. The engine's got to break in. So I pull this as tight as I can, and then I look at the link. So it's showing me the outer links is not where I want to break it off when it ends up being on the inner link. And it's sitting right on top of, they're sitting right on top of each other, the inner links. That's fine. Just grab this link. Now you know where you're supposed to be at. You put your chain breaker at that link. I'm sorry. And tighten this bad boy up until you see the pin fall out. Now this one is actually made for a motorcycle. This is like heavy duty. And it does it with ease. The problem is sometimes that little pin in here stays in there, which is a pain to get it off, remove it. But I just do it anyway. I just deal with it. There it goes. Just dropped in my hand, the pin. I like to save those. Sometimes I have to rebuild someone else's chain. So I do save them. And voila! Here's how much chain I took off of this bike. So now, this can go away. Put back in storage. Because believe me, when the time comes you need that, you want to know where it is. Take this. Take our master link. them back together. There's going to be some slop. It's okay, because that was as close as you can get it. And that's why they sell you, they give you the adjustment tool for that. Now, I always explain it. The engine is going this way, you know your bike is riding, so your top of your tire is going that way, bottom of your tire is going that way. Whatever way the lake is, and the tire is going, you want to put the round head in that direction. So when it's going around, it's steady pushing it together. Because if you go the opposite way, it's going to push it apart. So in other words, imagine this chain went all the way around and it went in this way. You see the open end, if there's anything in there that's going to grab it, it'll pull it off. And then you lose the link and the chain comes off. So you want to go, oops, I almost made the mistake. Look at that. I almost made a mistake myself. Telling you right about it, and I still almost did it. And you use the link head and the clip and you clip it together. And that's it. There you go. Works for me. Alright, so put that away. Take these apart. This is another thing I like about this company. They give you this thing with the 4 bolts and not just the dual 2 bolts. The 2 bolts suck. They don't clamp too good. This clamps way better. The single bolt doesn't clamp as good as this one. So we put them all together here. Put everything together. All the nuts, wash. I'll take them all apart because this separates from this side. This goes on your inside of the wheel, inside here. So, and you don't want studs going that way so you can tighten it. It's not going to work. You want the studs to come out this way. Put your wheel up. Your studs come out this way. Get a flat washer, nut, I mean a lock washer and a nut, and then you just start it at the beginning, not at the side. Get your other one, do the same thing, on all 4. Except you're only doing these 2 on the top right now. And how you know is these are sit on the top. Oh, dag nabbit. Look what I did. Alright, these gotta come off again. That's what I did wrong. It's gotta go like this. So that you goes around this bar. I actually started putting it together the way it was already. And remember that this is facing this way towards you. And you do this. Started. I'm going to go all the way in. This is enough so it don't fall off when you're messing with it. Same thing on this one. Oh, the top. Now this is the top. Where the wheel is the top. I think I've seen people put this going down towards the bottom, and I believe they didn't cut the chain, but I don't know how much that works. You know what I'm saying? If the chain is longer. I mean, that's an idea. And if you don't have a chain cut tool, you can always put this in there. I guess then you would have it this way. See what I'm saying? But when you have it like this, on this side, now the reason why I didn't bolt them all the way up, because you can clamp that on there, just slide right on there. Bring your, sorry. I just told you that this goes on the inside, didn't I? Well, instead of taking off those 2, I'll just take off this one and flip it. Because you want the nuts on the outside. Except for this one. out towards you. Because this is how you adjust it. You gotta loosen that nut and you pull it up. And on these, they stay stationary. They stay where they go. Wherever you're laying this at, it's where it stays. Let's say, for instance, I'm gonna make this sit on here. So. More. Rid the bolt through there. Let's get the fix down there. The first one starts. Everything's roads, so don't worry yet. Cut it shorter. Getting it short enough, whatever. There we go. There we go. There we go. Alright. Alright, now this is at the very bottom. And these, tighten them down, finger tight. So it'll stay in the fattest section here. You know that this is riding this bar. See that? It kind of stays on its own. I'm bringing it back. Let's see. If I pull on this chain, on this there wheel, and also you gotta make sure you line up this way. Evenly line up. That should be damn near perfect. You can use a regular ratchet. Tighten this up. Actually a little bit difficult to get it. With this, it's easy. With the ratchet, it's going to keep spinning you when you're in the back. In the back, you got to figure out how to stop the screw from turning. But not these guys. These guys here. Oh! I just let it roll backwards and loosen the chain up. There you go. See how that tightens up? Tear it this way. It's alright to have a little slack in the chain. Okay. And tighten the bottom up. All the way. Let them sandwich it to each other. Up here, you be careful. Pulling it back up. Pretty much, that's not going. Now, I get this wheel up, and that's all there is to it. Look at that. Not too bad. Let me see. Clutch in. Yeah, okay. It's not bad. You expect a little movement when it's on the non-tightening and everything. See that? Because it's always going to be pulling here, and here could have a little slop to it. Let me look down and see if they're on top of each other. They are on top of each other. It feels like I have to do a clutch adjustment. See how that's easily rolling there? But if I just leave it on its normal lockout position, it's going to be, I hear compression. So we're going to have to adjust it again. I knew that was was going to be a possibility and a plus that it would happen. Oh, I don't even have the front wheel tightened up. And then there's always the steering wheel that's loose. And so is this loose. So let's tighten this up. Now, that should be tight enough. What's going on here is that my front wheel is loose. So we need to get this off. It won't come out sometime. Oil in here. So maybe it'll make it easier to get it the hell out. Okay, let's tighten this front wheel up real quick. tighten up that screw down there, which is a 10mm. This would where your fender would go, or your brakes would go. So you want to tighten that up, keep that screw there in case you ever have to replace that coaster brake with some hand brakes. And that would help you out a whole lot. Just leave them in there. Your coaster brakes with this screw. There you go. There's none back here, but you can do that too on this. Just take it from the back. So, next thing we're going to readjust that clutch. So we got to release the clutch to do that. And basically the bike is done. It's completely done. Well, the floor is uneven. Handyman Lou out. Another tutorial on a beach cruiser mounting a motorized bike kit. Will be uploaded today sometime.